Monday morning blues. I open my eyes and I'm greeted by a cute little smile. The world is new with you by my side. Everything is beautiful Tuesday afternoon. I'm calling you home just to hear your voice on the phone. I think of you and I'm not alone. You are everything under the sky so blue. I found my piece of heaven.
I want to for you.
Spending my days with you. You are my piece of heaven. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, life is a bliss. Waking up.
I don't want that. Oh.
Later, we're not going now. Put it on your seat. Put it on your seat, hon.
Piece of heaven.
If I wrote you a song, if I got every word perfectly weighted on a thin piece of paper, would it make any difference? Would it change for the better? If I wrote you a poem, if I posted a letter